the British Army Mark II steel helmet and Mark II number 2 steel helmet. Introduced in 1938, the Mark II featured a new shell in a more oval shape than the Mark I steel helmet of World War I. And when we entered World War II, we entered World War II with a World War I mentality, thinking that it's going to be static trench warfare, and the soldier, as far as head protection is concerned, needs head protection from items falling from above, because we're all going to be stuck in trenches in World War II, just like World War I, how long we were. The other difference between this Mark II and the Mark I is that it has an improved chin strap and a brand new, for World War II, Rexine liner. The shell had a non-magnetic rim so that the wearer could use a magnetic compass. There's only really two differences between Mark II helmets. Early Mark II helmets have a large screw to the top of the shell, and early helmets have an oval pad in the top of the liner. Later models have a small screw and a X-shaped pad. So for example, this Mark II, the difference between that one and this one is this has the later small screw and something you'll all be familiar with. Right up there, it's got the X padded bit in the top, whereas this one has the early large screw, and in the top it's got an oval padded section. See that? It doesn't have the X-shaped one. So that's the early one. It was intended that the Mark II helmet, as well as being issued to the military, it was intended to be issued to the civil defence services. But by July 1940, the government realised that demand for the Mark II could not be met for every single service. You couldn't issue it to the army and to the civil defence services because there wasn't enough to go around. So helmets which had either been rejected as substandard or were newly made from non-combat steel, which was cheaper mild steel, became issued to the Home Guard and civil services. These helmets were known as the Mark II number 2, which is this one here. Now the only difference between a Mark II and a Mark II number 2 is that it's got the same liner, the same chin strap, but it's made from non-combat steel. And to identify it being made from non-combat steel, the rim has 2 holes punched, well, 3 holes punched into it. It could have between 1 to 4 holes punched into it. And the more the holes, the lesser quality steel it actually is. So, for example, one with 1 hole could be sent to a civil defence unit where things could be at risk of falling on the guy's head. One made of a lesser quality could be sent to a civil defence unit where there's no danger of anything falling on someone's head. So that one with the holes is the Mark II number 2. So demand for the new Mark II was so great, they had to bring in this one. Now these helmets already existed, or they were newly made. So this one has a decal of the Birmingham Battery Company on it. See that? Now it's not a battery company as such. It's actually I'm having to put labels on things now. It was a metal fabrication factory. And quite a lot of these helmets were found in storage in the 2000s. So you quite often find this helmet with this decal on it. So that's the number 2, Mark II, for non-combat use, denoted by the holes. That's an Army early Mark II. This one is a black late civil defence Mark II. Same chin strap, but it's black. And also the chin strap has the owner's name in it. Dolly Haynes. So civil defence. So that's the difference between the Mark II and the Mark II number 2. And you'll get various manufacturers, various year dates. Unfortunately, there's been an upsurge in the past 10 years of these helmets turning up with fake decals and fake home front stenciling. Every British military divisional decal has been reproduced to go on these helmets. Every single type of civil defence stencil has been reproduced, so you can stencil the helmets up to whatever you want to do. So you do need to be aware that finding one of these that's genuine and untouched is getting nearly as rare as the typical problems you have with the Ww2 German steel helmet. It's getting that bad. Nowadays, what dealers will do, if they have a helmet in particularly poor condition that's complete, rather than sell it at a low price, what they will do, they'll sell the shell, they'll strip it all out. Like people used to do with Victorian red tunics, strip all the insignia off, dump the tunic, sell the insignia. Similar things happening with these Mark II helmets. If dealers have a complete one, but it's a bit tatty, rather than sell it at a reasonable price, they'll strip it all out. They'll sell the shell for 30 quid. They'll sell the elasticated chin strap for £10. They'll sell the liner for 30 quid. They'll sell the padded bit in the top, the X-shaped padded bit, for about £10. And shockingly, which I completely disagree with, they will sell the screw and the nut for about £14. And you only have to go on eBay to see that a lot of dealers do have masses and masses of the top screws for these helmets, which tells you how many helmets they have disassembled. In my eyes, it shouldn't be done, but it gives the dealer more money. Who's responsible for these helmets being stripped out? Unfortunately, it's the collector. Because if the collector has a decent shell that's maybe original camo painted but has nothing else with it, they'll want a liner for it. They'll want the nut to hold the liner. They'll want the chin strap. So obviously there is a market for these helmets that have been stripped out. Unfortunately, that's the way it goes. That's the way the collecting field has gone nowadays. Once upon a time, if you wanted a Mark II helmet, you just went out and bought a Mark II helmet. I can remember when these were £5 all day long. I've seen them at £300 for an original untouched example. Nowadays, there was a time when you used to see these helmets at car boot sales, and I bet it's the same with you, and you never even bought them. They were so common. But now, they are gathering legs as their own collector's item. And like I say, unfortunately, the bad ones do get stripped out. Even though the bad ones are still relatively good, and they'll be good for the new collector, unfortunately, they get stripped out for the component parts. So that's the British Army Mark II helmet, and its civilian derivative, the Mark II number 2. This has got the elasticated chin strap. We'll stick another helmet on there as it goes around. This has got the elasticated chin strap. And like I say, it's got the early oval pad. You will find dates and makers marks stamped in there somewhere. You do have to be careful when you pull on the Rexine line at the senior makers marks. Usually one of the ribs inside will have manufacturer's name and probably a date. And this is another version, but that's the proper army one. This one here. This is the black civil defence one. A later one with the small screw. Same Rexine liner, same elasticated chin strap, but it's got the X-shaped padded bit in the top. And take this off here, get on there. This is the number 2 Mark II with the holes in the rim. I often see these on eBay sold as army helmets, which they are certainly not. Again, similar chin strap, similar liner, X-shaped piece in the middle. This one's by JSS, which could be, I think it's Joseph Sankey and Sons, could be wrong. But yeah, non-combat mild steel. So yeah, so we have the Mark II early, large screw, Mark II late, small screw, civil defence, and the Mark II number 2, non-combat. Bye for now.